Hi guys! Oh, let's get this angle right for you. Bear with. Ooh. Better. Better. Okay, let's get myself organised whilst we're waiting for everyone to arrive. I feel like, actually, I feel a bit trapped. Let's move this further back. I haven't got enough space. Ugh. Hi, morning, afternoon, evening, all the times of the day. Just checking my markings whilst we're waiting for everyone to arrive. Hi guys, nice to see you, or see your names rather, pop up. Stupidly used white chalk to mark my not dark points on this. You'd be very impressed, guys. I actually did it before the session today, and now I can't see them, so it looks like I'll be doing it again with you. Anyway, let's get started. Let's do a proper intro and then we can get started. So, welcome to the Sewalong for the Ravello Dress. That's what I will be making, and you can see here, this is one that I'm making into a top. I haven't finished it yet, but I started it today. Oh, for goodness sakes. Stay on. So I'm going to be making the maxi version, which is the version, the green dress behind me. This is the one that we shot in the actual ebook. And it's from the Summer Dreaming collection, in case you didn't know, which was out a couple of weeks ago. And so yeah, this is one of the patterns, and it comes in different versions. So you can make a maxi dress length, you can make a kind of day beach short dress length, and you can make a beach cover-up wrap, sort of tunic-y length, and also a short length, which is what I'm making. So I'm hoping to have that finished by the Thursday. So Alex is here to answer your questions from the Sew Over It team today. So do ask away and tell us hey and all of that lovely thing. I will keep my eyes on the comments as much as I can. But as we have realised over the past sew-alongs, if I do read them too much, I'll either sew through my finger or make a mistake. So it's quite hard for me to do all of that. We have also put a link up in our description to our coffee page, so you can buy us a coffee, virtual coffee, towards this sew-along if you so wish, and Alex I'm sure will put the link up to it as well. I should say what I'm wearing. I am wearing a hacked version of the sienna top, so a little peplum on it so that I can wear it with jeans that kind of finish there. So yeah, we were thinking of putting this version in the ebook, but we just thought there was just so many versions we didn't need it, so we didn't. But it's very, very easy to do. And I know people are going to ask me and ask us now, how do we do it? We will let you know. There's a plan to kind of do it. I don't know if we're going to do it as a blog post or do it as something like this, but we will make sure that you know. But it's essentially just a little gathered peplum on the bottom. So the fabric I'm using is now live on the site if anyone's keen to get your hands on it, as is this one as well. I picked up both of these last week because I thought that would be perfect for a little Ravello top, and this will be fab for a nice Ravello maxi dress. And I'm going to do something slightly different with my maxi dress. I'm going to put a frill on the bottom that we have in the Heidi dress. So if you remember the Heidi maxi dress, which is a wrap dress as well, which was in issue 4 of my magazines. And so I've basically borrowed that piece, and it's not too far. The sort of width of the skirt is very similar to the width of the skirt of this dress. So I'm going to be adding that to the bottom. So today though, what we're going to get started with, well, we've got darts and pleats in the bodice that we need to sew in. And we'll see how far we get to sewing up the bodice and maybe even getting the sleeve cuff on. We will see. So first though, I need to sort out my dart markings for my dart because it has definitely disappeared. So I've just got my front pieces here, and I'm just going to iron this because that is annoying. That is, let's bring that ironing board a bit nearer. That's creased and I just, This is kind of lovely crepe, but it doesn't need that much heat on this, so just want to make sure that I'm not going to accidentally melt it. No, that's fine. That was actually quite a hot setting and it was actually fine. It wasn't sticking. Is that the front? Yes. Okay. So we're going to start with the dart. So it's got these darts going up here that adds shaping. Basically, there's a combination of shaping in the pleat and also in the dart, and that helps shape both the armhole and for the bust. So let's get to this. All of a pickle. All of a pickle. Where do you go? Where do you go? There we go. Okay. I've cut all my notches. I definitely have done that. And I thought I'd mark through this, but oh yes I have. It's just rawn out. Let's put a pin in it. I never trust chalk or pen or anything. I can never find it. Especially in a pattern fabric, it's really hard. So that one's marked, that one's marked. Those are the sleeve ties. Oh yeah, it is. And now let's just get the back and make sure the darts are marked on the back as well. So you've got 2 darts in the back waist. They were marked. The notches are here. And I'm going on up and I'm not seeing anything. So let's just mark those in again. Oh, I can hear in the garden and my neighbours, the girls, I think they're 9 and 12, and they clearly have just got a paddling pool. Oh, that's why I'm looking in the wrong place. That's the pleat. The dart is here and it is marked. But yeah, I can hear them splashing around. And if you follow me on Instagram or Lisa Comfort Home, you'll see that last night was very exciting. Jasmine and I got to test out our hot tub for the first time, and there was a lot of screaming, mainly from me. I'm so excited. So excited. Okay, so we've got all those darts now pinned at the points, so I'm now going to pin them all together. The extra fabric for the frill. What I did, sorry, I'll just explain that bit there. So I folded up a little bit of the hem here. It's about 15 centimetres. And then the frill, I folded up. I was just kind of doing it approximate, but the frill I took away, let's see what that is, about 6 centimetres, and then cut the full length of the frill. You don't need the Heidi pattern to make a frill, you just need a rectangular piece. So my frill is 29 centimetres, but it's adding then that extra length of, maths, 14 centimetres so it will be super long. Because I think this finishes kind of at like just about ankle level, maybe slightly higher. And I wanted this to be proper bohemian length, you know, Elisa Lex from By Hand London length. Really lovely long length. And in terms of the strip, you basically take the width of the bottom of the skirt and you want to add 50%. So whatever that distance is, add a 50% of that distance, and that is your ratio for your frill. So it's about 1 to 1.5. Or if you've got the Heidi pattern, you can just use that. Right, back to these. So I will be making, the steps that I will be taking will be relevant for versions 1, 2 and 3. Version 4, the top, it's slightly different, but you can certainly do the first bits that I'm doing here on today for version 4, and it will get just different when we come back next on Thursday. So lining up your notches there, placing that right sides together, and then making sure that that little point of the dart is right there. And then we're going to chalk our stitch line in. So the point of the dart is right at the end of my ruler. Then I've got the other end of my ruler on the notch. I'm just sliding along with my tailor's chalk. Then I'm going to fill in another pin there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark them on the back, because I've got the back here. I'm going to sew them and then I'll go and mark the other ones, just because I still worry that the tailor's chalk won't last. So how was everyone's weekends? We have got a wonderful, wonderful week ahead in terms of temperatures here. Although us Brits are not very good when it gets super, super hot. And it's going to be super, super hot in London. 30 degrees tomorrow, I do believe. And as I'm sure all mums of small children are slightly concerned about the temperatures in the night. It doesn't really go any much lower than 18. So I've currently got all the windows closed so that the hot air outside doesn't come in. And I've also kept the curtains closed upstairs, and then I thought I'll just open all the windows tonight when it's a bit cooler. I think that's what they do in hot countries. But we have got a fan, so obviously being the selfless mother that I am, Jasmine will have the fan. So whether or not I'll decide to just go and sleep in her room tonight because she's got needs the fan, we will see. It's the sort of thing that there's no point in a British household of having loads of fans because it's not often that we get really hot weather, and then it's just having the space to keep them when you're not using them. Okay, so starting at that notch, we're going to do forward 3 stitches and backwards, and then we're just going to sew along that chalk line that we just drew in. And then just come off the edge so it's a really fine point. And fans are the sounds of summer. Oh, yeah, I find it quite hard to sleep with them, but yeah, tonight I think it'll be quite necessary. I also need to, this afternoon at some point, I need to give Poppy a haircut. I've got like dog clippers and I just think it's too, poor thing, it's just too hot. So it will be interesting to see how well that goes. Okay. I gave her a wash a few days ago, so she's lovely and soft. But yeah, I normally have someone to help me with it. Usually my dad, or I've got a friend who's like very doggy friendly and she helps me. But I'll be flying solo with the dog grooming today. Let's hope I do a better job than I did of my hair. Although now my hair is not bothering me as much because it's grown out a bit. Just lacking the layers that kind of make it less severe. Anyway, I'm not going to cut it again. I'm going to allow it to grow a little bit more. And maybe by the end of July, I'll go see my hairdresser. She'll tell me off. I'm embarrassed to go and her see the shocker that it was. Sorry. Right, okay. That one and that one. So that's great. That back is done. Those darts. And then we can do the darts in the front. Okay, so the curved little bit there. So I'm going to, what is that notch there? It's not cut in. Oh, notches. You are the bane of my life, notches. Well, the bane of my sew-alongs. You never ever seem to cut through properly. Cutting in the paper, I can see it there, all cut out nicely. It's just not in the fabric. Okay. So right sides together. And I just wanted to add, guys, any of you who are waiting for orders, we are still a bit behind with our copy shop patterns, but we are catching up. We have now got someone who's going to be working night shifts, printing and folding those to get through the backlog. And next week we've ordered another printer, so we're going to have 2 printers on the go. So we should then be able to be printing orders from the day before again. But at the moment we are still printing orders from the week before, so about orders from the 16th will be going out today and tomorrow in terms of copy shop printing. I think it's important just to manage expectations. All the others orders should have been should have gone out. But if you're ordering fabric, so say you order this fabric today, that should be processed tomorrow. We're up to date with our fabric orders. All orders from the weekend are going out today if they haven't already gone out yesterday. So the only thing that would slow down your order is if you order copy shop pattern, but like I said, we're hoping by Monday we'll be back on track with it. Rosie won't be doing the Sewalongs this week because she's working very hard in managing it in the shop and getting through it all. I did Sunday night and went in early Monday, yeah, we're all trying our best. We're getting there, but yeah, it's just kind of taken us. We were expecting it to be busy with the ebook release, but not as busy as it has been, which is great. It's a good problem, but we understand it's frustrating when you order something and it doesn't come as soon as it normally does. So thanks for your patience. Right. I'll have to do the same on this one because I bet it's not cut in on this one. No, it hasn't. Oh no. I've got a friend who I found out just before this morning has gone into labour. You know when you hear about a friend that's gone into labour, you're like on edge, waiting. And obviously the last thing you do is pester, going like, how's it going? I think she's having a C-section anyway, a second, but it wasn't, C-section was going to be a little bit later in the week, so it's baby's coming early, and yeah, you know, like desperately wanting to know what's happening, if they're okay. And also at the moment in the UK hospitals, dads aren't allowed to be there for the whole time. I think now the rule is that they can be there for the actual birth, maybe the lead up, and then afterwards they can't be there. So I don't think they can go onto the ward, which is hard, really hard. Right. Just marking this dart in. Not very well. But it's good because you can't see. It is sad, Kim. Oh, I went Sunday. I popped in to see my neighbour, my old neighbour from my old street. And she is I don't really know what kind, she just got a change in jobs, but she was a community nurse, but she used to be, before she had her girls, she's got 3 little girls now. So she used to be an ITU nurse. So she, when everything happened with COVID, she obviously, not everyone did, but she volunteered, very, you know, amazingly. She volunteered to work these crazy long shifts at Homerton. And I haven't seen her since. And she's now out of ITU. She's back to her normal job, I think, because she's exhausted. But yeah, I was thinking I really want to do something special for her as a thank you. So I'm gonna, I've got the email address of a few people from my street where I used to live, and I was thinking maybe as a group collective we can, she loves, you know, she's a big fan of flowers, but she never has time to sort out a front garden stuff, and she had all of my lovely things she was watering for me, and then I took them, and then everything looks all a bit sad and empty now. So I thought next week when I'm off, I thought I might organise with a couple of the other neighbours, and yeah, I'm going to deliver some nice flowers in the front. Right, okay, let's talk about sewing because that's what we're here for. So this is the front bodice. It's quite hard with these pieces to kind of get some kind of orientation of where you are, but this here along the top is the shoulder seam. I've just sewn this dart, and then the curve on the underarm here, that's the underarm. Your centre front is down here, okay? So what we're going to do, I've done the front one on both sides, so that's the other side. Sorry, no, I'm getting confused, there we go. That's the other side. And that is the back. So you can see the back there, you can see the 2 darts there. The back's a bit easier to understand the context of where we are because we've got that curve that's the neckline. So let's now press those darts, and those darts are going towards the sleeve. So they're going up towards the sleeve edge. If I press this and then I'll lift up and give you context so it's easier for you to see. I know we've had some requests for some closer ups as well, So I'm going to try my best just to hold things up to the camera closer. Okay, so can you see that there? So that's the direction I've pressed it on both sides. Okay, that's the back bodice. Now we're on the front. Oh no, wait a second, that's that side. Okay, that's the front here, and I'm going to press that again towards the sleeve. Okay, like so. And I'll do the next one. Okay, and that's the other side. So we've now got the three pieces there for the bodice. So the next thing we need to do is we need to do the pleats. So at the bottom of the front, let's start with the front. So you're looking at this in the reverse. So that's my shoulder here, that's my edge of my sleeve, and then that's the front edge there. So along the bottom waist edge, you'll find there's 2 notches. Now going from the centre front, so the centre front is this diagonal edge closer to there. So we're going to take that notch that's closer to the centre front, and we're going to bring it towards the notch that's closer to this underarm side seam. Okay, and then pop a pin in it. And I'll put a pin there, and I'm going to put a pin here. And I'm going to hold it up for you. Okay, so I went that way. So let's do the other side again, and we'll do exactly the same with that side. Okay, so you can see here. So this is the centre front edge here. This is the waist edge, and this is the underarm here. And I'm going to find that notch, and the first notch closest to this edge, the centre front, I'm going to then take that to the next notch, folding it over and creating the pleat. And then I'm going to pop a pin in there and a pin in there. And then I'm going to machine tack this in place, or machine based. So that means nice long stitch length. And I'm just going to stitch across the bottom at 1 centimetre seam allowance. So the seam allowance is 1.5 for this. So 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. So you need to make sure that your machine tacking is sitting within that seam allowance. So let me hold that up again. There it is, stitched in. Okay. So we've got to do the other front, and then we're going to do the back pieces. So I've already pinned that front with you, so let's just machine tack that in place. Okay. Like so. So that's those 2 done. And now we can do the back. So the back is the same in that we're going to, so you've got 2 pleats, one either side of the centre back. So the centre back is the fold line that runs, you would have cut this piece out like that. So whether you've got still an obvious fold line or not, but it's roughly, you can see it's in the middle of this piece. And then again, you need to find the first notch. So there's basically 2 pairs. There's 2 pairs of notches on either side. So we're going to do one side and then we'll do the other side. So from the centre back, we're going to go along, and when we get to our first notch there, we're going to take that notch and we're going to place it over to the next notch. And then this is a slightly smaller pleat than the front, so I'm just going to put 1 pin in. And then again, moving from the centre front in the other centre back, in the other direction, I'm going to come along. And I'm going to get that other notch, and I'm going to fold it up to the next notch along. So the pleats are going that way. So then we need to machine tack that in place. Okay, So all our pleats and our darts are now stitched. So now we get to join things. We get to join the front pieces, the front bodice pieces, to the back bodice piece at the shoulders. So lay your back bodice piece out. I think it's easier to have that flat on the table, and then you can take your front pieces one at a time and place them right sides down, lining up at the shoulder seams. So starting off pinning at that neckline, and then I think there's a notch here, but yes, there's a notch to help you balance it because it's quite a long seam here. So line up with the notches and also the ends here, make sure they're all lined up. Okay, I'm just going to fill in now, making sure these raw edges are together. Still hear them in the paddling pool. She's a childminder, so there's another little boy, I think, there as well. All the funs. Okay. And then that piece goes down. Right side's down, so the other side now, I'm going to pin that one as well. Make sure my notches align here, so the notches are slightly closer to the sleeve edge than to the neckline. Okay. Fill in my pins, make sure that's really well pinned. Okay, so now we're going to sew that with a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, or 5/8 of an inch. Oh, I've not got it off my stitch length. Make sure you're back on your regular stitch length, because we are now sewing a proper seam. So we're sewing those shoulder seams. One shoulder seam done. I'm just going to trim my threads off as I get to them so that I'm not got loads of dangly bits. And then do the other one. Oops. Right, so that is now together. So let's just, I'm just going to, I like to do this, pop it on for context. So this is essentially the top that we have just sewn. See, it's going to wrap over like that. But that's what we've just done. So now what we need to do is those shoulder seam edges that we've just sewn, we need to finish them. We need to overlock the edges, the seam allowances together, and then we're going to press those seam allowances towards the back. Okay, here I am. these. Oh, make sure you always have this up. It's like, the tension is crazy. That would be why, Lisa. Okay. Still needs a bit of fiddling with that tension. I might. That's fine. So, if you ever do get a little bit tight tension on the overlocker, you can just pull it out. As long as you, before you trim the little tails of overlocking thread off, then it sort of just extends out. Okay. So, I'm now going to trim those. And then I'm going to press this towards the back. Okay. And there goes Poppy. And then we're going to press that as well on that side, also towards the back. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is stay stitching. So we need to stay stitch the neckline. So the neckline is this long bit here. We're going all the way around here. I just want to see if we recommend doing it in 2 directions. Oh, got the instructions here, just bear with me. No, we don't, but I'm going to say that we should do that because you have got the bias here. So I'm going to say what we should do is if we put a little pin in the centre back here, roughly marking the centre back, and then let's stay stitch from here down on that side to the end here, so down towards that front waist edge, and then we'll stay stitch down on that side. Just sometimes then it won't drag and stretch in different ways on each side. The seam allowance for the neckline is 1 centimetre, so we need to do our stay stitching within that. So stay stitching is done to prevent any extra stretching when you finish the neckline, and also whilst you're handling the garment before you get to the neckline finishing bit. So make sure that when you go over your shoulder seams that you just stitch, that you're not stretching, so they're not stitching the seam allowance in the opposite direction to what you've just pressed it, so it needs to keep staying towards the back. And do be careful when you come down this front edge because it is bias and we don't want to be stretching it. I'm just pushing it towards the foot, not allowing it to sort of stretch and lay flat. Okay, so that's one side done. Now we'll do the opposite, and this time we'll be working from the wrong side of the fabric, but for stay stitching that doesn't matter. It's exactly the same whichever side you sew on. Okay, so I'm just going to press that just because it's puckered it a little bit, and it helps us set the stitches of the stay stitching as well. Set the stitches almost. It's using the weight of the iron to do the job mainly. There we go. If you notice what I was doing is this, not this. Because if you do that, you're going to stretch it. So it's just putting it down, lifting it up, putting it down, lifting it up. Okay, so I think, guys, we can now do some off the cuff. How are we doing for time? Not bad at all. Right, so we have got the cuffs to do. So we have got a notched edge on the cuff and an unnotched edge. Yes. So the unnotched edge is also indicated by this little bit that sticks out, the little pointy bit. Okay, so what iron is this? This is a T-file Aqua Speed 5334. It is good. It's really good because it's got really good steam and it's nice and weighty. I can't remember when I got it. I've got about four irons at home usually. I also have different irons because I bring them from the shop if we have too many in the shop sometimes. So we're going to fold this over to the wrong side. So this funny little bit that's sticking out there, that bit there, we're going to fold that over to the wrong side and press that. So it's a 1.5 centimetre fold this. So you just need to keep that along the way. And if you're not sure what that, if you're worried that you're going to waver as you go along in the middle of the cuff, then you can just use your tape measure and just check that you're sticking to that. Oh, it's really hot touching this. Ow. Okay, so that's it. Ooh, what happened there? He unfolded. Just press that middle bit again. So my nails are driving me mad because I keep making the effort to do them, make them all lovely and nice, and then I'll start doing something that's like the worst thing for nails. So I've recently just tiled my fireplace and grouted it. And I was there using my fingers to help smooth the grout out. It's not very good for nails, is it? Sometimes think I should just give in and not bother with my nails, but I like having nice nails painted. Okay, so we've got the other one to do as well. Okay. Lovely. That's press, and I do believe we're edge stitching this now. We are edge stitch this in place. Okay, so let's do that, guys. So I'm going to work from the right side because I always like to in these instances, and I'm going to line up my edge of my foot with that. I think that will be fine. Okay. So even though edge stitching ideally needs to be very close to the edge, because this is quite a wide turnover, like this little bit, I don't want to be stitching at 2 millimeters from the folded edge. So I'm on about 4 or 5 millimeters at the moment. I think that's fine. I'll show you once I've done this. Okay, one done. Now the next one. So we had slight improvement on Jasmine's sleep last night. She was asleep by 8 o'clock. Still not quite the time I was hoping for, but still. Asleep by 8 o'clock. To be fair though, the excitement of the hot tub happened. So asleep by 8 o'clock, and then woke up at 6. And she did wake once in the night. But that, compared to what I was having before, is a lot better. Ooh. I think we'll go for some more hot tub action tonight, hoping it'll wear her out a little bit. Okay, that's that one done as well. I'm just going to give this a nice gentle press as well, so that that really crisps up that edge. Again, I don't really want to stretch this out too much, so still get exactly the same effect, but you don't get stretching. Right, so we now need to attach the cuffs to... I haven't even seen what you guys are talking about. I've been so in the zone. No, I've been missing out on more of the banter. Banter. Sewalong banter. Okay, where are we? There we are, Lisa. Need to get it, so the shoulder seam, if you lay your piece out, so you've got your shoulder seam here, and then you've got your sleeve edge here. And just let me see what we'd say. Okay, flipping it, we're doing this wrong sides. So what I just had, but I'm just flipping it over. So I'm just going to get that shoulder seam. I'm going to stick! Excuse me. And then we're taking the right side of one of the cuffs and we're placing it down onto the wrong side of the sleeve. It's very hard to like show you this, but thank you, Kim. So okay, here's the black bodice. Here's the bodice. There is a straight seam that is the shoulder seam, sorry, the sleeve seam, and the shoulder seam is running perpendicular here. Then, so that's the wrong side facing up, and then I'm doing right sides down, and I'm lining up the notched edge with that. So the edge that we haven't just folded over and hemmed. So we should have nice little notches here to line up. So notches lining up with your sleeve cuff, lining up with your bodice. Right, I'm going to now pin that one. What I think I might try and do is just do one side with you as much as we can get in, and then rather than doing one left leg, because you're kind of then going to just see me doing the same thing again. That way I'll get a bit further ahead. Now seam allowance I believe will still be 1.5. Yeah. Whoosh! Don't you dare break, Mr. Thread. I'll have none of that. An extra pin in there. Been a little bit sparse on my pins. Can't be having that. Yeah, you can't on this. Yeah, it is hard. The only way, because you need the fittingness. I mean, I guess this was made for me when my boobs were smaller, so it is pulling on me at the moment. But it's really difficult because really, even in one of the photos, when it was very much, you know, it was definitely not too small for me. It was still pulling there because the shearing creates that. So I don't really know. I mean, all you could do is you could put little clear press studs as well at these points, just to help with the pull. I'm not too worried about it though. I think this is what it is. But yeah, it does mean that I think because it's like this, you know, I do feel like, you know, that this to me is a very casual bodice, any casual top anyway. I wouldn't wear this to a fancy do or to work or something. I'm wearing it because I'm at home today and I feel quite at ease with it. But out and about, I might feel a little bit on show. And I think that's just, you know, I probably would then want a slightly looser fitting one. But I'm not going to let this top go to waste. So I'm getting it some wearing in. Right, we're now going to press them towards the cuff, I do believe. Yes, seam allowances towards the cuff. So lay on your ironing board like that, and then like so, and like so. Okay, so that's all lovely and pressed. Oh, I do believe we're understitching, are we? Are we understitching or are we not? No, we are beyond. I've gone too far. Yeah, repeat the size for the other side. Wrong side, so fold one cuff in half. No, we're not doing understitching. And press in place. Okay, so we're then going to fold this over like that. Now you've got the nice point here on the edge, on the end there, that will help you find that central point. Again at the other end you've got that as well. So hard ironing sitting down. I can't do it, guys. I can't. I'm standing up. Do the wrong side, so fold one cuff over, press the edges, seam line, press in place, and press the cuff over again, this time so it sits on the right side of the bodice. Align the seam allowance on the edge of the cuff with the small underarm edge and machine tack this short section either end of the cuff piece. Okay. So if we just have a look at this, I think it helps to have context of where we're at. That's why I bring the samples here. So what we're doing now, what we've just done, is we've just folded. So I'll just take that out. Yeah, let me just take that out so I can show you. It's just little catch stitches to keep the turn up in place. But what I've just done is I've just done that fold there. Yeah, there's your open edge, like that. So that's now pressed like this. And then we're folding over like that. And that's the next thing. So we've just done that. Now we're going to press over like that. Okay? Press that in again. I don't know why it's being difficult, this. It's the joys of crepe, eh? It's like to wiggle about, doesn't it? Okay. So then we're folding over again. Okay. So we're creating this turn up now. So we're folding it over again. Basically, we've already got that fold line here that was half of it. So we're just making sure we don't fold it too far because we don't want to start seeing the inside of the dress there. We want the cuff to be all, this is the bit that I'm meaning here. We don't want that to start coming around. We want to keep it so that you can't see that. Press that in again. And then I'm just going to pin at these ends here. So there, that end, and I'm going to pin at this end. Okay, like so. And then I think we're just going to stitch over those little ends. Yeah, just machine tack it. So let's just whiz over there, just to hold that in place. Just at that little end. I'm just going to put another pin in because it is quite fiddly, it's moving. So the seam allowance when we sew this section together will be 1.5. So you can sew this machine tack at 1 centimetre, that's fine. Oops, lost a pin down there on the floor. Don't worry, I'll get it later before one of the animals or Jazzy gets it. And the same on this side. This one's sitting a little bit better, but I'll still put another pin in it. I'll show you what I've done in a second. Trim those off. Okay. Here, so I've just sewn that end there, and the same on the other end as well. Okay, can you see it there? Just that little bit there, just to hold that in place. Now I think the problem I'm going to have now is, in order to do the rest, I need to have the other one on the other side. Yeah, because we can do the catch stitching later. Turn the bodice over to the wrong side and using a hand needle and thread. Oh, let's just do that now together. Let's do the catch stitching, and then we'll I'll talk you through the plans for what we need to do before Thursday. So, needle, oops, needle, when I do a catch stitch I always do a double thread. Now, how many places are we doing? Catch stitch a cuff in place. Yeah, so the shoulder seam, let's start there. So, if we take, so we've got the cuff like that, I'm going to lay it here, flat, and I'm just going to pin it in the points where I'm going to catch stitch it. So we need to catch stitch it at the point where it hits that shoulder seam, so that'll be here. And then we need to do one also halfway in between where we've stitched there and where the shoulder seam is. Make sure that's tucked up inside as well. You want to make sure that seam allowance is still tucked up as it should be. Okay. Ooh. So double thread, knots together. Oh no, knots have come out. Oh diddly no. Okay, let's try and do this as close to you guys as I can. So I am going to come up from the inside of the garment. And I'm going to go up through the folded edge there of the cuff, and I'm going to go round. So then I'm going round, and in the same spot and round, oops, and round about 4 times. Not too tight though. There. Okay, and then I'm going to take that thread into the back and just finish off by doing a little stitch just in the little seam allowance there of the shoulder seam, and then cut that one off. Then we've got 2 more to do. So whilst I do those, again I'll try and hold them close to you guys so you can see, but I'm just going to talk about what we're going to aim for next week on Thursday. So in order for us to get as close to being finished as possible, I think it'd be great if you can stitch your ties together. So your ties are like, we've done that before. We did it with the Alba, and we also did it with the Eve. So we're going to stitch those ties together so they're all ready for Thursday. And then if you can also stitch your darts into your skirts. I think there's, you've got in your front skirts. And you've got a little pleat as well in your front. If you can get your darts and pleats in, then I think as well, I just think it'd be good if we could do our side seams. No, let's not do those. We'll do those all together, don't we? Yes. So just do your darts and your pleats in your skirt and create your little tie. This piece, oops. Stitch your ties together, and then will be a good point to get as far as we can together. And obviously I've only done one cuff, so you need to do the other cuff as well on the other side. We'll take those pins out. I'll show you again this up close once I've done this last one. So this, by the way, guys, is a polyester. I don't think, it's not really a georgette, it's just a polyester crepe, a lightweight crepe. Perfect for this dress, but you could also make it out of a viscose rayon. This is what that is. That's what the white version of the top of Ravello in the book was. Or I've also got the green, which is half silk and half viscose. So you've got all sorts. So basically you just need drape. It needs to be lightweight and drapey. This is not something for cotton. The only thing we did out of linen was the beach cover up. That kind of works, but we've got cotton gauze for the, we use cotton gauze for the little beach dress, but I still think that the maxi version definitely needs to be drapey fabric, and I think the dress version also look best with a drapey fabric. Okay, so let's see where that is. So there we go, there's our turn up. I'll put it here so you can see. That's what we've just stitched. That will become this like that, okay? So we've got it anchored here, here at the seam, and then again in the same position there, and then we machine tack the ends. So do the other cuff, get to this stage, stitch your tie, keep catching this in, do your darts in your, stitch the darts and the pleats in your skirt pieces, and then we'll finish, I can't promise that we'll finish it, but we'll do a lot of the rest together on Thursday at 1 o'clock. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Alex for answering your questions. Thanks for taking the time out of your days, guys. It's always lovely to see you all, and thank you for commenting and stuff. That really is nice. It's always nice to see all the comments. I always look at them afterwards, but can't always see them every throughout the whole thing. I am feeling very lightheaded. I definitely need to have some food. I need some lunch. Alex will be putting up the link to our coffee page if you want to go ahead and buy us a coffee to support our Sewalongs. That's it for now. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock I will be watching the Sewing Bee final, and at 10 o'clock I will be chatting on IGTV, or rather Instagram Live, all about what happened in the final. So join me for that. See you then.